AI is bringing sweeping changes to our world. The good news? AI can liberate us by drastically bringing down costs and freeing up our time. AI will be able to perform many of the tasks we spend so much time laboring over. As part of adapting to these rapid changes, we'll need to follow patterns and not formulas. So let's get into it. Patterns, formulas, what's the difference? Formulas sound like this. If I follow these steps, I'm guaranteed to get a specific and particular result. In the past, we've wanted formulas and then preferred them. Why? Because they're simple steps we can follow to get something we want without having to think too hard. A formulaic approach is like having instructions while assembling a table. Step 1. Unpack the pieces. Step 2, flip the tabletop upside down. Step 3, screw in the framing of the legs with a screwdriver. Follow the steps, get the guaranteed result. Voila, a fully assembled and ready-to-use table. With the ushering in of the new world with AI, there may be far fewer formula-based tasks left. But that's okay, because really, we aim for much loftier and fulfilling endeavors anyway, right? Like getting our brilliant product or service idea out to the masses, healing the sick, playing leadership roles, entertaining, or however you might otherwise express your creativity and ingenuity. These kinds of ventures don't lend themselves to following a simple set of instructions anyway, do they? Of course not. So, if we can't rely on formulas for success, then what can we do? Behold, patterns. Patterns require us to go deeper, to dedicate ourselves to learning. Patterns can be found everywhere. So what exactly do we mean by patterns? Well, patterns are inherent truths, laws of nature, tendencies for behavior and growth. Patterns inform us as to the predictability for certain events to occur. And the tool that we use to see patterns is insight. For example, the human body is patterned. Even though each of us is quite unique, the underlying pattern that sustains a healthy body remains consistent. While no single formulaic dietary and exercise plan works for every single person, many health issues can be resolved by adjusting and moderating diet and exercise. Why? Because the underlying pattern to the human body remains consistent and universal. One who has this kind of pattern insight, for instance, like a physician can examine the context of an individual's situation with heavy consideration to the basic pattern of good health, and then make particularized assessment and recommendations. To the doctor, this might look like a prescription. To the architect, it might be a blueprint. And to a YouTube creator, it might be something like showing an interesting graphic in the middle of a video. Business has fundamental patterns. These are elements of similarity found within a high percentage of successful companies. Patterns are the reason why franchises are so successful, because the business becomes the repeatable pattern itself. Every area of study offered by colleges and universities across the country and around the world have a curriculum designed specifically around teaching its underlying patterns. Engineering, nursing, business, computer science, law, architecture, criminology, and even creative fields like art and writing. By learning the theory, the laws, the principles, one can gain insight into the patterns from which successful and reliable outcomes arise. After gaining these invaluable patterned insights, one has a basis, a framework to make high-level and more sound decisions. Once one gains insight into a pattern of a given area, their creativity can be layered on top. Humans will always have the advantage over AI here. For example, a writer must first master the fundamentals of storytelling before they can break the rules, so to speak, with their own creativity. This is because it's only by seeing the pattern that one can know when and why breaking the rule might be effective. What makes a pattern so hard to see? Can you guess? The answer might surprise you. What makes a pattern so hard to see is the desire for a fast and specific result and the fear of what might happen. Yep, the desire for the quick fix and the fear of what might happen clouds our ability to gain insight into the pattern. It's the fear and desire together that serve as the blinding force. Whenever we have an attitude of, I just want to fix it, I don't care how, or just make it go away, or when we apply artificial urgency due to fear of the unknown, in these cases, the quick fix desire and fear of the unknown block us from gaining a deeper insight. So, you see, it's not until we give up trying to get a quick result and begin trusting the world do we settle into a mode where we're willing to spend the time to study the patterns first. But let's not be so hard on ourselves because we all fall into this trap. Well, we fall into it until we realize that it's a pattern that is continuously failing. When we do finally recognize it, though, we say, okay, the only way to get through this is to take a deep breath, relax, let go of the past, give up on the future result, and trust the world and calmly focus on the facts of the matter. So, as you know, we like to push the philosophical boundaries and see just how far we can stretch them. So, what do you suppose is the single most fundamental pattern of the entire universe? I can tell you that it's quite difficult for us to see precisely because we're clouded by a heap of fears and desires. In fact, one can spend an entire lifetime trying to intuit it, and actually many people do. So are you ready? Drum roll. The underlying pattern of the universe is unity. All is one. And within each part contains the pattern of the whole. Every atom in the universe is interconnected with every other atom. This is the subtle truth, the subtlest, the grandest truth and pattern. Furthermore, this single pattern is the core from which all other patterns arise. So, what does this mean for us? Well, at a social level, for example, non-acceptance of another person, whether because of the way they look or the way they live or any other reason, is, on the most fundamental level, non-acceptance of oneself. And likewise, acceptance of humanity, just the way it is, equates to acceptance of ourselves, just the way we are. Here's the main point where the deep philosophy stuff can help guide us in our personal lives as well as on a social level. It's quite easy to blame the person in front of us, or commonly on the screen in front of us, to be the cause of our pain. However, this doesn't fit with the underlying pattern. Every person is an essential part of the universe. Indeed, is inseparable from who we are. Not only are we essential, but fundamentally, we're all aspects of the same interconnected whole. When we violate this pattern, when we believe and act like we're separate from the whole, we suffer. It's that simple. There has never been lasting success or lasting peace when we separate, divide, blame, we push our pain onto others. And the same is true for mistreatment of our environment. Any such actions serve, at best, as a temporary relief from our own personal fears or a fleeting indulgence in our own personal desires. Conversely, when we come together, getting past the mind's error of separation, we feel more alive, more whole, and in step with the most fundamental pattern of reality. As we move into a new era with AI, we'll need to follow patterns over formulas. But equally as important, we'll need to let go of fears and desires. But this is a blessing. Because letting go of fears and desires not only opens us up to insights, but it also allows us to experience a much more subtle joy, which is actually the sweetness of life, the joie de vivre. A little wisdom is a powerful thing. You can use these core patterns to improve your life experience and lighten the burdens you're carrying. And that's precisely what we're doing on our Patreon community. So please join us if you feel compelled to do so. Everyone is welcome. I sincerely hope you're enjoying these videos as much as I love making them. And if you're interested in studying the deepest patterns of reality and finding more subtle joy in your life, check out the Patreon group by clicking the link below. That's it for today. I'll see you next time.